Welcome to this episode of the Phantom Journeys podcast with your host, Matt McGurk and Ken Smith, where we bring the unexplained to your ear holes.
This podcast is brought to you by the Alien Soda Company, your connection to pop culture and paranormal themed merch. AlienSodaCompany.shop for all things out of this world.
Good afternoon, Ken. How are you doing this evening?
Doing very good, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's been quite an interesting week.
Yeah.
Anything up with yourself?
It's been a week. No adventuring or ghost hunting this week, but it's been a week.
It has been a week. That's very true. Time is funny like that.
Nothing exciting on this end. Except today, this is exciting.
This is exciting. We have a really interesting episode today.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the episode about today?
Today we're talking about ghost cars.
Ghost cars.
Ghost cars. This episode was originally meant to be ghost cars and trains and like vehicles, but I came across so much cool stuff that it's ghost cars, and we can expand on it next time.
And then we can do a part 2 at some point.
For sure. It's stuck. It's for sure. It's California now. Yeah. So before we get into our main story, is there any strange paranormal stories this week?
I don't know about paranormal, but there is another one that I've found interesting. It's about an Arkansas woman who was arrested for selling 20 boxes of stolen human body parts.
What?
According to NPR reporting, an Arkansas woman has pled not guilty to charges she stole body parts from a medical school cadavers and sold them through Facebook for $11,000.
Facebook, that's where you get your faces.
I mean, like, are you going to, I'm bored. I'm going to go on Facebook and, hey, I'm going to buy that arm. I mean, it's crazy, right? Well, I'm not saying she's crazy, but according to NPR reporting, Candace Chapman Scott, a 36-year-old former mortuary service worker, is accused of selling 20 boxes of everything from human skin to skulls to a man in Pennsylvania, according to a federal grand jury indictment unsealed by Little Rock Court on Friday. Scott was charged with 12 counts of mail fraud, wire fraud, and interstate transportation of stolen property. A lawyer representing her did not immediately return a phone call to the NPR for them requesting a comment from them. According to court documents, Scott worked for a company that offered commercial cremation services. One of their clients was an anatomy lab at the University of Arkansas, which used donated cadavers for medical education and research.
And sales, apparently.
After one of the company's scheduled pickup days, she messaged the owner of a Facebook group explaining how she acquired the corpses. Named Oddities, the private Facebook group contains about 380 members and bills itself as a safe way to shop.
Safe way to shop.
So, safe way to shop just odd things, making it the Oddities? Or are there 380 people in this Facebook group looking to buy human body parts?
People are strange. They, I've heard in other podcasts that people, at least there's stories of them who sell themselves so other people can eat them.
Ew.
Yeah, interesting. But
according to NPR, Candace wrote them saying, "I follow your page and work and love it," Scott wrote to the owner, according to the indictment. "Just out of curiosity, would you know anyone in the market for a fully intact, embalmed brain?" Scott sent pictures of 2 brains and a heart. The man offered $1,200 via PayPal and gave Scott pointers on how to ship the 3 organs to him in Pennsylvania via the U.S. Postal Service.
Now, is there any part of her story where it's like buy one get one free?
Well, she showed 2 brains. So over the course of the next 9 months, Scott proceeded to ship the man an ear, an arm, lungs, livers, kidneys, hands, breasts, penises, fetuses, skin, skulls, and 1 whole human head. In exchange, he paid her $10,975 in 16 separate PayPal transfers. Each time Scott returned the rest of the remains cremated to the school.
Wow.
what would your PayPal note for payment be?
Right?
Something like
Yeah.
this is for 2 brains, but not for the foot. I'll pay for that one on the next payment. I don't know.
Right? Hey, look, I mean, I'm speechless. That's a...
Well, you gotta... Okay, so if these are body parts that were used at the school, so they were probably donated either by family members or the person themselves.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But
fair enough.
You gotta admit that, let's say you donate yourself to Anatomy to college.
To science.
Yeah, they're gonna operate on you.
Yeah, for sure.
But would you, as a spirit, look back and be upset that, hey, they're selling my body parts? Don't you think you'd want to haunt somebody, or would you just not care?
Oh man, I would absolutely haunt them. Yeah, I mean hey, leave my toes alone, man. Stop sucking on my toes.
Oh, my dead cold toes.
Well, at least she's ahead of the game.
Good one.
She got a hand. She got a toe into the market. lads. These people. These are people. I'm going to hell if it existed.
The story
but,
is funny, and we have respect for the people that were involved. But
yeah.
Now, not to be gross, but the story did say she shipped penises. Do you think they were all in the same box? Or did you think
like sausage links?
An arm and I don't know. Maybe we should
penis with an arm. Here you go. Do it yourself.
Buy one penis, get one free. I don't know. Okay, I think we should move on before we get ourselves deeper in a hole.
Oh no. Okay. Well, big thank you to npr.org. That was a great story. Appreciate that one. That was also a story by Emily Olson. So
with NPR.
Of NPR. So thank you
for
for the story. It was awesome. All right.
I don't know. At least I guess it wasn't Craigslist.
Oh, yeah. But I was just trying to think, I guess you can buy everything on Facebook Marketplace these days, so,
what I just realized
what's that?
What's even more disturbing about that article is they never really explain what they did with those.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, you know what? It might be other colleges. Maybe it's just it's just sounds in the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Would you say ghost cars?
Ghost cars, please. Yes, absolutely. So Ken, picture this. It's 1955. You're a successful and sought after movie star, and you know it.
I know it.
You trade your current Porsche. You got the money too, so you want to upgrade. You trade in your current Porsche. It's getting a little old. So you want a nice car and maybe a newer one.
Sure.
So
I'm a movie star in 1955.
Absolutely. So you buy this new this Porsche 550 Spider.
Nice.
With the number 130 on the side of it.
Nice.
You're classy. You're looking good. That's what owner James Dean had done.
Oh, so you're telling me I'm James Dean in 1955?
Yeah,
nice.
Sure. Let's go with that. The wind blowing in your freshly cut hair, the world in the palm of your hand. But you never make it to the race in Salinas in California.
Little bastard.
Ken, what's with the language, man?
Oh no, James Dean's card is called Little Bastard.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, hey, that leads us to our new topic. Ghost cars. You don't have to live your life a quarter mile at a time when it comes to ghost cars. Throughout the 20th century, people have been experiencing strange occurrences of cars and other modes of transport on old forgotten roads, rural areas, and even abandoned streets. They have come to be known as haunted, cursed, spectral cars, rats on wheels, spectral drivers, and even possessed cars. Let's take a look at President John F. Kennedy's limousine, for example, named SS-100X by the Secret Service, a navy blue 1961 Lincoln 74A convertible. This was the car to which John F. Kennedy's life ended in, and it is said that he haunts this vehicle to this day. A man dressed in grey is said to be seen standing by his car, and even more so in the month of November. John F. Kennedy died on November 22nd, 1963.
So is the guy in gray, do they think it's like a Secret Service guy, or?
I think they believe it is John F. Kennedy. Didn't he have a gray?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had like a gray suit. When we buy our cars, we hope that through the time we have them, that they will keep us safe as we go from our A to B's. This is not so much the case for the police department of Old Orchard Beach in Maine. A car allegedly responsible for 14 deaths, but coincidentally could also be linked to up to 100 other deaths. Anyone who drives or touches the car, Golden Eagle, the 1964 Dodge 330 Limited Edition. So limited, in fact, that your soul might be its pink slip. Each of the police officers who drove this car died in the same way. A murder-suicide. Coincidence?
So, let me get this straight. It's responsible for 14 deaths. Does that mean there's 14 police officers?
I do believe that it was a couple of police officers, and then later on it was responsible for.
Wow.
But the 100 more deaths, it was kind of murder suicide, and it kind of trickled through families and stuff like that. Anyway.
You would think that 14 deaths that they can tied to the car, you'd think they would. I don't know.
I mean, would you automatically assume a car?
Well, I mean, if you had 14 people and they were tied to the same, dying the same way, murder-suicide, I would think there would be probably a more outside influence than a cursed car, I mean, originally to think of.
Yeah, all right.
But it's interesting.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, so I know we're going on about the case, but does this mean that cars have souls to haunt you?
That is interesting.
Or am I jumping ahead?
Well, who knows? We'll have a little. We'll investigate as we go. But on that, I mean, energy again. I feel it links to things. And if someone's really bad, and the energy is still in the car, and they touch that car, and I don't know. It's an iffy one. Let's see what else we have.
Okay.
But after researching the blog of owner Wendy Allen, deaths associated with this vehicle could amount to at least 100 deaths, if not more.
Okay, so she writes a blog about owning this car.
Mm-hmm.
And she's linked it to 100 deaths.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to buy that car.
No.
I mean, that's really going to affect your Blue Book value.
Actually, on the upside, the car was dismantled and sent to several different junkyards across the country. So let's just hope that individual pieces of this car don't,
Well, that's what that's why I just started laughing.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so how many pieces are in a car?
Oh,
thousands.
Thousands.
So you just haunted, instead of one location with one car, you've haunted 1,000 different locations with pieces of this car. Like across the country, there's 1,000, haunted scrap yards. Or okay, let's get this. So scrap yards, what they do is they melt down the scrap metal they get. So now, does the curse follow the melted, or does it?
Or would it?
Does the intense heat of the melting process?
Well, that's
burn
true.
Off any kind of curse that this car might have. By dismantling this car instead of just burying it, has she doomed, instead of 100 deaths, thousands of deaths from?
Oh my god!
Do you see where I'm going with this?
I do. Yeah,
wow.
I think we should we should take some notes on that and see if anything about I don't know objects, but objects they're, you don't want to be touching weird objects that are possessed.
Don't touch possessed objects.
However, not all ghost cars are stationary in museums or possessed by demons trying to kill people. Take the Surrey ghost crash, for instance, in 2002, December 11th, in Surrey in England. Police were called to an unusual area for crashes on the A3 highway. It was reported that a set of headlights were seen speeding off the highway into a ditch. Officers rushed to the scene expecting the worst case scenario, but there was no sign of a crash, no skid marks, no disturbed foliage. The search continued until they came across a car that looked like it had been there for quite some time. It did in fact look like it had left the road and crashed, but the overgrowth and foliage blocked the view of any occupants. When rescuers managed to clear the way, they found a long-past person decomposing inside. Forensics placed the time of death that of 5 months previous.
It would be interesting to see, I don't know how you would check this, but to see if maybe the person that passed was last reported missing exactly that day 5 months earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe this had repeated every day for 5 months, but only now there's someone in the right spot or at the right time of day to see it.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of like, what's that, like recording, like when spirits are...
Right, yeah. Like a residual...
Residual recordings, yeah. Something like that, I'm pretty sure. He just wanted his body found so he could be buried, or, have his family know that he's not missing.
Yeah, I'm sure that the family was worried about where this person had been for 5 months.
There are tons of movies and TV shows based around possessed vehicles. Not all are bad either. Take, for example, one of my personal favourites. Although not so much the car, but a car or bike on fire with a rider. Guesses?
Ghost Rider.
Alongside Ghost Rider, we can also see The Wrath, a 1986 Dodge MS4 Turbo Interceptor. Say that 10 times fast. When a teenager is killed by a gang, the teen takes revenge by becoming a driver of this rate. Unfortunately, Bruce Ingram, camera operator, died and several others injured in a crash on set.
I remember the movie vaguely. I remember it's a purple wraith.
Yeah. I do believe Charlie Sheen when he was a teenager or something like that, wasn't it? Yeah.
He was in practically everything in 1986.
I mean, that was before he was,
Okay, so
hey,
not to get off, but not to judge this movie. But the one thing I remember about this movie was that it was a purple car, and it was chasing whoever was in the car that the camera was in.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be the supernatural car, and it had the Chrysler logo on the front.
Oh man!
I was like, guys. a little duct tape or something,
yeah, right,
to the same color of the car. I mean, I know Chrysler probably made it for the movie, but at that point, it was hard to keep the suspension of belief to keep on the show. It was like, okay, so Chrysler owned by the devil.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not saying anything about Lee Iacocca, but 1986 Chrysler. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
But I wasn't aware that somebody had died on
that was
movie.
quite interesting. I only realized it when I was doing research on it too. So between Joyride 2001 and Maximum Overdrive from 1986, you can enjoy possessed trucks played King of the Hill on long highway roads. Duel 1971. This is an interesting one that almost aligns with the stars. Pun intended. Mr. Steven Spielberg, quite an amazing director. Did you know that at some point, most, if not all of his movies, there is a shooting star? Which to me signifies that there's something strange about to happen.
No, this is the first I've heard of that.
Yeah.
And I love Spielberg movies, especially ones in the late 70s, early 80s.
Absolutely. I think this is just a me theory, honestly. Okay. It probably exists on the internet. I don't think I've ever actually looked it up.
Okay.
But
Duel was a great movie. Did you know this is his first one too?
Yeah, that was so. It's interesting that when I hear Steven Spielberg, I kind of think like, I don't know, like E.T. or like Close Encounters. I don't think like Jaws, and I don't think like a killer truck. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's really cool. So Steven Spielberg, there's a shooting star that kind of signifies something's about to happen, such as Duel, inspired the 1975 movie about a killer shark, Jaws. To me, I have not researched this, but a shooting star seems to be the herald of doom.
Whereabouts are we seeing the stars? Is it like on like a passing truck or?
Here's the funny part.
Okay.
It's actually very visible.
Really?
And I made my wife watch Jaws for the first time the other night, and
let's just share a little backstory. Matt is terrified of sharks.
I am. Okay.
Is it because of Jaws?
Yeah, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it messed with my head as a kid.
Well, yeah, it's a scary movie.
Here's the funny thing: my wife had never seen Jaws, and she used to surf. So is well, she's a busy lady now, So
okay. It wasn't because of Jaws.
No, she doesn't know it exists.
It wasn't recently used to.
No. As many people growing up watching Jaws, they fear sharks. I'm gonna throw a name here. Paul Walker was also a marine biologist. Really? And when I seen him working with Fast and Furious,
okay.
When I seen him working with like sharks and stuff like that, I was like he was my like role model.
Wow.
Model.
I was not aware he was. He was a marine biologist.
Yeah, it is really really interesting, and this nothing got to do with his crash. R.I.P. Paul Walker. But yeah, no. So in Jaws, I believe it is when the orca first goes out to sea.
Okay, well, orca was the boat.
The ship owned by Quinn. So
Quint.
So right as it might be a little bit after when the boat goes out, but once they're out at sea, then you see this streak of red going across the sky, and then the shooting star.
Okay. I have to watch it again and see that. I never noticed that. Yeah.
So right after that happens, like the attack on the orca happens. Like obviously there's stuff before that, but yeah, it's quite interesting. And I do believe this. I had seen it in Duel and also in, oddly enough, E.T. So
E.T.
Yeah. So yeah, quite.
I know we're talking about ghost cars, but one more thing on Jaws, and I'll stop. Greatest scene is when he's throwing the chum over the side and sees Jaws for the first time.
He's like, whoa,
and he's terrified.
Yeah,
we need a bigger boat.
Gonna need a bigger boat.
And
you know what's like? I know when you haven't seen a movie like that in so long, and you always hear people saying like, gonna need a bigger boat. He says it a lot after that too.
Oh yeah,
it's like, hey, we're gonna get another boat. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
We need another boat.
So
we're going home. We're getting a bigger boat.
He does actually say that at one point. We're going back in, right? So yeah, it's such a great movie.
But I know that you were mentioning about the ghost cars, that later on we were going to probably do a part 2 about other, transportation that have been seen. So, but that part I'm interested in, and just to go along with that, the ghost train of Abraham Lincoln.
Oh yeah.
People still today report that they see spectral trains going along the route that brought Lincoln's body back to Illinois.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, so
That's
it
really
makes
cool.
you wonder, is that has to do with the energy of the person on board, or like maybe the whole combined energy of the country focused on that one point, but allow the memory and the thing to be played over and over again. So maybe that's what some of these. I mean, you got to. Okay, so let's go back to the guy that went over the edge to the freeway. I mean, so much energy.
Oh yeah.
And fear. I'm sure this person was terrified as they went off the freeway. I'm sure that had to have something to play in.
For sure.
People seeing the image 5 months later.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder: is there everyone in a car accident you get fear? I'd be sure, but why isn't spectral recordings happening all the time? Like, why isn't there ghost cars on the freeway all the time? You know what I mean? Like it's.
Well, they did say this guy launched himself off the freeway, so I mean, maybe that's a little bit more intense.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Or maybe okay. So, but then in this case, the car and the body was still there.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the person involved in the accident was still around in the area and trying to attract attention. Maybe that had a little bit more to do with it too.
Yeah, for sure. That's really interesting, though.
But. And you also hear stories of people driving on dark roads, and they get the car lights flash behind them, and someone's trying to run them over. They pull off to the side, and there's nothing there.
Yeah, yeah.
That would freak me out.
Absolutely.
In fact, I have a kind of, it didn't have a ghost story or a ghost car, but one of the scariest things that ever happened to me was back in '93. I had just moved to Tennessee. I'm driving through this back roads of nowhere that I've ever been before.
Ding, 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 ding.
I didn't say that about people in Tennessee.
Sorry, Tennessee. I was being funny. I love y'all.
It was pitch black.
Yeah.
And here I am driving. I hadn't seen any other cars.
Yeah.
And as I come up around this bend, I see two of those shiny lights in the road ahead of me.
Okay.
But, it's dark. I can't see that far ahead. The headlights in my car. So to me at first, I thought it was oncoming headlights.
Okay. Like they were that big that they were like...
Oh, no, but in the distance. Because
okay.
It's so dark, you really couldn't judge distance, you know? So I was thinking there's these headlights. But then all of a sudden, I realized they're not getting brighter or closer. And then all of a sudden, there was something in the middle of the road. I had swerved to miss it.
Right.
And it was the first time I ever seen a possum. Scared the crap out of me. I tell you right there, I had never seen a possum. Never even thought about a possum. And there I thought I had witnessed my first real life cryptid. Scared the crap out of me.
We're going to have a little mascot now for
little mascot possum.
I was going to say, maybe it's just a deer like in headlights, but okay. Possum. It
was a possum.
Yeah.
Now I know what possums look like because of that.
Here they're cute. I think it's in Australia that they're not so cute.
I have to take a look at a picture.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you. You're on a dark road, middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Someone's trying to run you over with flashing their headlights. What do you do?
Oh, man, I mean, what can you do?
Pull over?
Pull over. You'd have to.
And hopefully they don't stop.
Yeah. I mean,
crazy? Or
I think
you try to outrun them and
hopefully
I'd
make
crash
sure.
Your car?
Yeah, I think I'd if someone was coming at me, I'd like pull over, and if they stopped, then I'd gun it.
Okay, yeah.
It's dark, it's late.
Or maybe do a quick U-turn and go back the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Get towards the light go towards the light, Mary Jane. Or whatever, was it Mary Jane?
That's what's get you in trouble.
Marianne. Sorry, Marianne. Yeah, so no, I think especially like, look, I know people need help sometimes, and it's rural and cool. But
and what if they really needed help?
Yeah,
and then you hear you are running away from them,
gunning it. But look, I've heard way too many true life crime stories and stuff like that. True. So sorry, mate.
You're on your own.
Yeah, not unless you're like showing your face and go, hey, look, just gonna like beep 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 or something like that. That way maybe. But if it wasn't making any noises,
you pull over.
Yeah.
Then nothing happens. The lights disappear.
Gun it.
There's no car.
Gun it.
Back the same direction or back the opposite direction?
Just straight for now.
Gone.
Oh, well, then again, I mean, what if it's something telling you that there's something ahead and you have to turn around?
Oh, exactly.
Oh, man, you're frying my brain here.
For everyone that's listening, that boom you just heard was Matt's brain exploding. No, but... so I would think I hate to say it, but I think I would be so puzzled I'd have to get out of the car and look.
Really?
I think I would.
You would? Oh, you mean like if the car disappeared?
I mean, if I pull over and then the lights disappear and there's nothing.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
I think I'd have to get out of the car and take a look. Because I would think, okay, so I don't know. This is a hypothetical road, but maybe there's like pavement goes to like a dirt shoulder. I think I'd have to look to see if there were like tire tracks there, or
sure. Would you call the police and go, hey, I'm after seeing a truck going off the road or something like that? Go.
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe they didn't expect you to stop. They had to slam on their brakes and went off the road.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably good that I got out of the car then.
Here's me. 5
months later, like, they wouldn't be finding this guy dead in his car. No, I mean...
Yeah.
I don't know. I would... maybe that's one of the reasons I like this particular paranormal topic so well, is because I have to look.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but there have been times where I should have been running the other way and I had to stop to take a look and walk towards what everybody else is, afraid of.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that.
I hate to say that, but I think I would get out and actually start looking to see if there were first tire tracks in the dirt.
I mean, pitch black though.
Well, I got
You have to wait for
flashlight.
the next. Oh, okay.
I got a flashlight.
Fair enough.
If it's my car, I got a flashlight.
Yeah,
I got my cell phone. You got
that's true. Everyone has flashlights and cameras these days. So,
But then and then I don't know. I'd be so puzzled that I'd probably actually look to see if somebody went off the road too. Then after that, I don't think I would necessarily call the police. Because what are they going to do? Like, okay, what do you want us to do about it?
yeah, right.
You know, but
Oh,
I'd probably be calling you like, hey, guess what? I just saw. But then
Grab the camera, come down here right quick.
we're going to do an on-site podcast. No, I don't know. That's a good question.
All right.
But also, I mean, again, do souls? Cars have souls,
Yeah,
or anything that has energy have the potential of being recorded for posterity?
It's possible. I definitely think it's plausible for sure. Possible. I don't know. It's you've heard stories about it.
I worked with a guy who was convinced that machines had souls.
Okay.
But I never really gave it much thought. But when we start talking about stories like this, maybe the fact that okay, so what powers the human body? Electricity. Well, we got electricity running through the car. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying it's sentient.
Yeah.
At least not yet, because
we're getting there.
Give us another 10 years or so. But what if the same electricity that runs through the currents of the car doesn't interact with something that records the past?
True.
Like what a lot of the ghost theories are.
Yeah. And maybe it's the oil is the blood, or there's or I mean, even human blood, maybe if it's blood. Anyway, so you can.
It's interesting.
It is. And what if there's multiple people who have committed crimes? Maybe I'm going down a rabbit hole here, but maybe there's people. Say if 3 people who are criminals own the same car, does that mean it's a bad car? Like
Well, okay, so that leads into the police car, the police car that had hundreds of deaths.
Yeah.
What do you think was the instant thing that doomed it to? The original owner did a murder-suicide, so therefore that imprinted on the car and
maybe
cursed it to...
Yeah.
Or did he... It'd be interesting to find the original owner if they did the murder-suicide...
For sure.
Within or around the car.
Yeah.
And then their spirit was tied to the car from then on. And so therefore...
Yeah.
They were... It becomes a haunting instead of a curse.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of like an actual real-life Christine.
Yes, absolutely. Big shout out to Stephen McQueen.
Stephen
King.
Oh, and then the James Dean, his little car.
Yeah.
That car is also going on to have, people that have bought the wreckage.
Yeah.
Have had deaths and unexplained things happen to them. I think the first couple of owners died mysteriously after recently purchasing it.
That's true. Yeah, for sure. I mean, God, it's vehicles, man.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
I don't think I have anything tied to my car, so whoever buys my car next or whatever happens to it afterwards, I think we're all safe.
For sure. All right.
I don't know. I like my car so much. I might be.
There you go. You might
have a back seat passenger. Who knows?
Sweet. All right. Well, let's just take a little short break, and when we come back, we'll hear the story.
Hello, Earthlings. We are from the planet Mars, and we are here to shop at the Alien Soda Company.
You don't have to travel the solar system to shop the Alien Soda Company. All you got to do is visit aliensodacompany.shop, and you too can get pop culture and paranormal themed shirts, shower curtains, posters, and they got over 100 different license plate frames that you can put on your flying saucer.
So that's aliensodacompany.shop.
Yeah, aliensodacompany.shop.
For all things out of this world.
Alien Soda Company, for all things out of this world. Use coupon code PHANTOM for 10% off your entire purchase.
Do you want to stand out at Ren fairs or LARPing? Would you like to do something special for bridal wear or handfasting? Or add some unique bling to your everyday style? Check out elvenstardesign.etsy.com for your best and unique handcrafted Celtic jewellery. Or go to phantomjourneys.com and find a link in our partners section. That's elvenstardesign.etsy.com. Welcome to Phantom Journeys podcast listener stories. This story comes in from Jesse in Van Nuys, California. So sit back, turn the lights down low, and grab your Phantom Journeys coffee and listen as we tell you their story. The first experience started around the time I was 2 years old. We lived in a one-bedroom apartment, and my little bed was in the far corner of the room against the wall, with a window high enough up on the wall that I couldn't see out of it even if I stood on my bed. I woke up at night a lot, not scared or anything, but I would just wake up calmly and then knock on the wall. I didn't feel like I was making a decision to knock on the wall, but it was a feeling I had, and so I just did it. I don't remember it feeling scary or sinister. It was something that I did, and 90% of the time I heard a knock back. I told my parents when it happened, and they would dismiss it. My dad told me it was just opossums, and they were no help in understanding it. It continued for about a year onwards until I was about 3 years old, and then it just stopped. I didn't feel like I needed to knock on the wall anymore. Once I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw a short, stout man wearing glasses, bald on top, with a tiny bit of hair on the side of his head. He wore slacks and a short-sleeved button-up shirt, standing over my dad's side of the bed. He bent over and kissed my dad on the head, and turned around and disappeared. He wasn't completely solid, like a real human standing there, but he looked like he was made up of random colours that you would see if you rub your eyes in the dark, if that makes sense. In the morning, I told my mother that there was a man in the house last night. She dismissed it and said, "Like your father?" I replied, "No, a different man." She seemed concerned that there had been an intruder, and I remember feeling frustrated because I was super excited to tell her about it, and now she looked mad. She asked if I could describe the man, and I told her exactly what he looked like. She asked me if I was scared, and I said no, because he kissed my daddy on the head before he left. She asked me again and again to explain what the man looked like, and I started to get frustrated because I am only 3 years old and I don't have any other words to describe this to her other than what I've told her. Eventually, she stopped asking me to describe this man and then took a frame off the wall. She opened it up to reveal a stash of 6 photos hiding in the back of the frame. She then handed me a photo of 4 stout, bald old men wearing glasses and slacks and short-sleeved button-up shirts. I pointed to one of them with excitement and said, "That's him! That's the one that kissed my daddy on the head." And my mother told me that was my grandpa. I never met him because he died 12 years before I was born. People always thought it was weird that I have memories from when I was a toddler, but I've always been very perceptive, so maybe that's why. Another time was with my granny. She died on Christmas Day 2009 in one of the guest rooms at my Aunt Pam's house. 2 weeks after she passed, my sisters and I went to see our aunt. Everyone in the house was sitting in the living room talking. I was sitting on the ottoman of one of the armchairs where I could see every person in the room. My Aunt Pam asked me, "Jesse, do you want to sleep in Mama's room?" And I kind of laughed and said, "Oh no thank you, I'll sleep upstairs." I immediately felt a slap on my upper back and quickly turned my head to see what it was. It reminded me of when a cat pumps up against you with their body, but there was no pets in the house. There was obviously nothing there when I turned around. I turned back towards the room and my sister looked at me and mouthed, "Are you okay?" And I nodded, yes. Later that afternoon I pulled my sister aside and told them what I had felt, and she was like, "Oh my god, Granny's mad at you. You don't want to sleep in her room." We all laughed because this made total sense. It was a very granny thing to do. She had a habit of smacking people, but not in a mean way. Kind of like if you disagreed with her or didn't accept something from her, you'd get a little smack on the back or shoulder or arm. Like if we were leaving and didn't take her cash for gas, smack. If she asked if I wanted breakfast and you said, "Oh no, thank you," smack. So it was funny that she would take that habit with her. Did you enjoy today's listener story? Would you like to share your own? Well, you can go to phantomjourneys.com and leave your own listener story by clicking the link provided. Or you can send us an email at stories@phantomjourneys.com.
Please let us know if you want to use your real name or remain anonymous. We ask that you send us true paranormal experiences and not fictional stories. You can also check out phantomjourneys.com for our latest episodes, news, and our new gourmet Phantom coffee line, where we also have other cool and spooky coffee mugs, t-shirts, and gifts.
The views expressed in this podcast express the views of the hosts and not the sponsors or any other entities.
Living or dead.
Wow. That's cool, man.
That is really cool. I mean, have you ever had someone come back and... have you ever seen somebody from your past that you didn't see because they died before you were born?
No, not in that way, no.
No. That would be interesting, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I just thought of something as you said that, and now it's flown out of my brain. But I think it had something got to do... disembodied voices.
Yeah.
That will definitely be an episode in the future. But in saying that, yeah, I mean, should you listen? Should you trust these voices? If you hear... Because she heard...
What she saw.
She saw him, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting now because children are very susceptible to seeing spirits. I remember doing research years ago about this. Kind of like there's a film over your eye.
Okay, right.
And as you grow older in the harsh environment and effects just of life, it kind of like fades a little bit, and then you're just normal. You don't see things.
Right. So future story podcast edition.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost voices.
Mm-hmm.
But then also imaginary friends.
Haha, nice. Absolutely.
Are imaginary cool. Versus ghosts.
Yeah.
And how to know the difference.
How to teach your kids. Nope. Or yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I tell you right now, though, if I had a house and I walked in and the rocking chair in my kid's room stopped rocking as I walked in, we're moving. I've seen...
You'd sit in it.
No. At that, okay. Like Jaws was for you.
Yeah.
Amityville Horror, the original movie.
Yeah.
Horrified me as a kid. I mean, it came out when I was like 6 or 7, and I probably shouldn't have saw it at that age.
No.
I was so terrified of that movie that, no. I'm sorry, if I walked in and the rocking chair stopped moving,
well,
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out.
And it's quite funny.
You can keep my stuff. I'm out.
It's quite funny that Amity again was also where the
Jaws. Back to Jaws again.
Right? What's up with that?
They were in Amity Island.
Amity Island, yeah.
So, thank you all, and remember to send your stories to us, and they will be read on there, just like the one you just heard. And for us, I'm Ken.
And I'm Matt.
And this is
Phantom Journeys Podcast.